to be here with you this afternoon. Thank you to Daniel Jurgen and Carlos Pascual for the invitation and for the opportunity to present my vision for a free, prosperous, secure, and pro-business future for Venezuela. As you know, I come from a country that endured almost 3 decades of destruction, mismanagement, and isolation. And I'm here to speak about our future. A future which is extraordinary, and I want all of you to be part of it. You know too well Venezuela's energy potential. We hold the largest proven oil reserves in the world, over 300 billion barrels. We have the 7th largest natural gas reserves in the world, largely untouched. We also hold over 30 of the 60 critical minerals that the U.S. government has in a strategic list. And also we have a century of production history that probably no other country in this hemisphere can match. And of course, we have the most beautiful beaches in the world. You know that very well. And all of this is located in the heart of the Americas, 5 days away by boat, by ship, from the United States. For decades, all this potential was locked away because of ideology and corruption. That time is ending. A new era has already begun with an upside of a completely different order of magnitude. Today, Venezuela produces approximately 1 million barrels a day, less than a third that it used to produce 25 years ago, and a fraction of what we will achieve again. With the right investment environment, Venezuela can realistically reach well over 5 million barrels a day. And reaching that potential certainly requires a lot of resources, which we estimate above $150 billion in the next 10 years. This is a kind of long-cycle, large-scale commitment that the companies in this room are built to make when the right conditions are in place. And how to create these conditions, it's exactly what I'm here to talk about. Since January 3rd, 2026, important steps have been taken to re-engage Venezuela's oil and gas sector and begin addressing years of institutional decline and corruption. We certainly recognize and we're grateful for these early efforts that President Trump's administration and Secretary Wright have done, and we recognize the importance in opening this new chapter for our country. What comes next, though, must go further. It would be and should be fully transparent, institutionally grounded, and designed to create long-term trust for investors and also for Venezuelan people alike. You know very well that the energy industry, invests when there are met 3 criteria. First, certainly, abundant resources. And Venezuela has, as you know, a very, very low risk in terms of exploration. We know what the resources are. Secondly, when you have very competitive production costs. And third, when you have the right institutional framework. And I, of course, refer to the legal, fiscal, and contractual architecture that attracts and protects capital over decades. And this is what we bring to the table: long-term investor confidence. Working alongside a team of Venezuelan oil and gas experts in Venezuela and abroad, as well as leading executives and technical specialists for all across the global energy industry. We have developed a comprehensive plan for the sector, designed with both international investors and our people in mind. And I want to be direct in terms of what this in institutional frameworks brings and represent. First of all, the role of the state. Venezuelan state will get out of the way and pave the way to give the conditions so that the sector, the oil and gas sector in Venezuela, will go fully private. The role of the state will be strictly as a regulator, creating the incentives for long-term investment and overlooking that transparency is kept all along the way. For the first time in Venezuela's history, we will have long-term and clear rules. We will have the government enforcing contracts and guaranteeing that these conditions are maintained. We will have an independent and autonomous hydrocarbon agency that will be responsible for supervision and regulation. Secondly, regarding investors and operators, you will own production right out of the wellhead. You will be able to book the reserves, and you will have 25 years contracts that can be renewable for another 25 years with a long-term visibility that major upstream capitals demand. You will have full protection of private property rights backed by international arbitration and enforceable legal guarantees. And if a dispute arises, it will be resolved through international arbitration. We will offer flexible contracts, structured, tailored to different projects, technologies, and investment strategies. Third, the fiscal conditions. Royalties will be capped at 20%. Income will start at 34% and will be linked to international oil prices. Fiscal terms will be locked at signing with no retroactive changes ever. In all, Venezuela will offer the most competitive government take in the Western Hemisphere. Fourth, transparency and compliance. This is very important because you will operate with full transparency and in full compliance with the highest international standards. Fifth, the country risk. We all know that right now, investing in Venezuela carries a very high premium risk, which is close to 25% nowadays. At those levels, frankly, most long-term projects simply do not make sense. We will bring this down to a level where investment is no longer a choice. Those are going to be the conditions in Venezuela. And finally, in terms of operational conditions, we will ensure reliable power generation through efficient investment in existing infrastructure and the opening of the power sector to private participation. You will have world-class services and logistics and a robust security framework that protects your people and your assets. This will be made possible under our democratic government. Your companies invest for 10, 20, 30, 40 years. And the conditions that you need are simple. Clear rules, stable conditions, and a legitimate democratic government you can rely on. The Venezuelan people gave us that mandate on July 2024. The world saw it. And now, through a democratic transition aligned with President Trump's administration roadmap, that mandate will finally be honored. Venezuela will hold free election, and when Venezuelans speak again, they will reaffirm what they already voted for, not once, but twice, in the primaries and in the presidential election. And our people will vote once again for free markets, rule of law, independent powers, for property rights for investment, and for a future defined by work, merit, growth, prosperity, and opportunity. And I would add families reunited in our countryland. Venezuela also offers something increasingly valuable in today's world. We are geographically anchored in this hemisphere, far from the tensions affecting other regions of the world. And beyond that, ours is a deeply cohesive society without religious, ethnic, regional divisions, and without the structural fractures that so often complicate political transitions. That is why our transition will be orderly, because it's being driven, protected, and sustained by the Venezuelan people themselves. So, here's my invitation directly to you, to every single one of you. Our team is ready to brief operators and investors on every aspect of our energy framework. Now is the moment to build strong relationship, and that's why we're here today. For all those 3 decades, the regime believed that the Venezuelan people could be worn down, that hunger, isolation, and fear would extinguish our conviction. They were wrong. Our people organized, our people resisted, our people held together with a resilience that has no parallel in our history. They are the reason we are here today, and they are the reason why this will work. A leader in this industry that you all know told me something recently that stuck with me. He said, the best investment you can make is in a country where the people warmly receive you, where they want you there, where you are genuinely welcome as partners. That is Venezuela. We welcome foreign investment. We understand that this is the path to rebuilding our country. The Venezuelan people will be your workforce, your neighbors, and your partners. Venezuela's limitless energy potential is a geological fact. The question has always been whether the conditions exist above the ground to unlock it. Those conditions will be built by the Venezuelan people in partnership with the United States and with the support of all stakeholders across the industry. And when they are, Venezuela will become a driving force in the global energy future. We invite you to be part of what comes next. Our people are ready, the industry is ready, and Venezuela is ready. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
María Corina, thank you for the very full statement about vision. Your team, you've done your homework. You've said some words that are magic for this audience as well in terms of contractual commitments, and let's come back to those. But let's just take a few moments to expand on some themes. And you gave us a sense of vision, but what is fundamentally changing to put Venezuela now on a new path?
Well, many things have happened in the last years. I'm sure you follow it closely. Venezuela got together into a citizen movement, very profound. I would call it even an existential and cultural movement. And after January 3rd, we finally feel that freedom is at the threshold. Mm-hmm. We are there. And the kind of excitement and alignment that I find today, talking to many of you, it's a demonstration that everybody sees it's coming close. So we need to move further into an orderly path in which we can not only dismantle the structures of repression and corruption that have been in place for almost 3 decades, but also build this new institutional framework that will last, I would say, for centuries to come. And we're ready to do that.
And what gives you confidence that transition can be orderly, peaceful, and stable?
Our people. I mean, I mentioned it before. I've heard so many times, it's impossible, it's impossible, it's impossible, all the time. And I've seen, analysts and strategists building, scenarios with thousands of variables, and they always leave one on the side, the people, as if it didn't matter. And look, Carlos, I mean, this is being so powerful. I challenge you to think another country in which 90% of the people want the same, not only to get rid of a regime, but to live with dignity, to work with merit, to bring our children back home. And in order to do that, we need to have open markets in which not only people can come back, but also huge investments can come with the security and certainty that this is going to be a long-term process that is predictable, that even if you have political changes, the conditions are going to remain in place. And that's precisely what we're building right now. So this is a totally different moment. And I think we wouldn't have such a crowd today, this afternoon, if all of you wouldn't agree with me.
But in effect, it's the communication of the vision that gives you the confidence that people will understand it and then support it because the vision corresponds with what their desires are.
And the facts, because look, Venezuela only 3 years ago looked hopeless, and people would come to us almost with pity and say, what a huge opportunity lost. There's nothing that can be done. Today is totally different. People come to us and say, we want to invest. How can we help? When should we come in? I have great ideas. And imagine, it's a paradox because people sometimes say, wow, you have no institutions in place. Venezuela is in the last place globally in rule of law. Out of 143 countries ranked by the World Justice Project, we are in the 143rd position. So people might see that like a real liability, but look at the other way around. We're starting from scratch in the age of AI, of technology. We're building new structures. We have a totally new hydrocarbon law, a new one for this age, not putting, bad reforms on an already bad text. So this is the kind of transformation that we're doing. And actually, we need your input. One of the reasons I'm here is because I want to invite you, as we have done with many other executives and experts, as I said before, to come up with your idea, with your suggestions in order to have the right incentives in place and turn Venezuela from a criminal hub of the Americas into the energy and technology hub of our hemisphere.
You were very bold on your vision for energy, fully private, right? And one of the questions that I'm sure is going through the minds of many people in this audience is, what does that mean for PDVSA?
Well, certainly PDVSA, it's bankrupt. I mean, they turned one of the more efficient companies in this hemisphere or the world into a criminal organization. And this, in the first stages, we will have to reduce dramatically its size while some operations keep in place until we can actually privatize the whole operation process from upstream, midstream to downstream, oil, gas, and other sectors. So as I say, what we believe the government should concentrate exclusively is in having the right conditions for private investment, to local and international, to be invested in our country, and overlook that transparency and full compliance it keeps in place. So that's, we have so many other areas in which we need to invest: education, infrastructure, health, security. Let's have the private sector with the right technology to develop this huge opportunity. I mean, we're talking about over $1.7 trillion opportunity in 12 different sectors that we have already studied.
You use some words that for this audience are like a symphony. They may be a little bit boring, but they're like a symphony, creating the legal, contractual, and fiscal conditions, long cycle, large scale. How do you deliver them?
Well, first of all, you have to go from discretion to institutions. That's obvious. And it sounds great, actually. And in order to do this, you need the right leadership, of course, and you need the support of the people. And I want to be very clear with this. I mean, the Venezuelan people want this kind of investment and this kind of partnerships. We have learned the cost of socialism in our own family schemes and households. We want open markets. We want clear rules. We want competition. We want transparency. We want institutions. And we're very close to the values that have made the United States such a great nation. So look, I'm totally bold about this. And as I said, we have already supported it twice. And when we have elections soon, you will see how it turns out. It would be overwhelming.
So, hydrocarbons. Can they be a foundation for revenue, for diversification, and responding to building a more diversified Venezuela that is not a petro state?
Absolutely. I mean, you have to, all these revenues, we have to reinvest in several other sectors. I mean, if Venezuela is unique in its natural endowments, it's not only because of oil and gas. Our hydroelectric capacity is huge. It's minerals, it's rare earth, it's gold. As I said, over 2,000 miles of the most beautiful coastline in the Caribbean, almost all virgin. Telecom, fintech. I mean, it's and in the heart of the Americas, in a moment in which nearshoring, as a dynamic is growing. I mean, it's no other place in terms of the size of this opportunity. The only thing we're lacking, certainly, it's what's above the ground, and it's about institutions. But the people are ready. I mean, we've learned our lessons, and I want to assure you that this process is unstoppable. I mean, we will never give up. Venezuela will be free and democratic soon. And I really look forward to the day I can host you all in this beautiful, great nation.
You said many times you talked about transparency. And I'm sure one of the questions in many people's minds as well is, what can be done to end the legacy of corruption?
Well, first of all, you have to have the will and the determination of the leadership to do that. And at the end, there's no other way we can assure this degree amount of resources come to Venezuela to turn around our country. Secondly, I have to say that there's a very high level of consciousness in Venezuelan society of what corruption and discretion have brought. So if there's something we have, and an absolute priority is have institutions that work and as I say, separate the roles of the state, not in operation, but in regulation and overlooking competition. So, we have already, as I said, designed not only the laws that we're going to put in place, but the steps we have to make to bring Venezuela from the last place in rule of law in the world to have one of the highest places in rule of law in the region. And that's a top priority.
And indeed, the emphasis that you placed on institutions is critical, because in the end, it's those institutions that give confidence. Elections. Let's close on this. You've cited 2 elections. You've committed to a third. Secretary Wright, when he spoke yesterday, mentioned that there will be elections. What's the process? What's the timing?
Well, unfortunately, we are experts in fraudulent elections. We are actually, but we can give advice to many people if you need. But also, we were able to anticipate what was going to happen in 2024. I mean, we knew we were going to win, even if the conditions were extreme, but we had to prove it. So imagine what we did. We organized over 1 million volunteers, and we used technology that has been commonly used against freedom and democracy as a tool for freedom. We knew we had to win, and we had to prove it. So we created a network of volunteers that gather all the original tally sheets in over 30,000 polling stations. The regime did not see this coming. We have a country where 60% of the territory doesn't have internet, so we had to smuggle Starlink antennas and power generators and scanners and phones and computers. These Starlink antennas were hidden in watermelon trucks so that they could not be seen and cut by the regime. And they were put in places that had never seen a scanner in their lives. And our technicians told us, maybe in the best scenario, 80% of these centers will work. You know what? 100% delivered. And we proved our victory. So once we did that, we know that if we won under those conditions, imagine free and fair conditions. The Secretary of State also mentioned in this 3-step plan, stages that gap on each other, that the final step will be free and fair elections. And we're already working on that. It takes at least 9 months, 40 weeks, from a technical perspective to have perfect free and fair elections, but they will take place. And when they do, you will see the awakening of a country that will turn into the beacon of hope and wealth creation for this hemisphere. And as I said, we want all of you to be part of it. Venezuela will be free and democratic soon, and we will bring our kids back home, Carlos.
María Corina Machado, future Venezuela.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Please remain seated. The program will continue momentarily.